Today's story follows a girl who goes on what's supposed to be a fun sea trip with her mom and her mom's boyfriend. But things quickly take a dark turn when she discovers that he's not who he seems. The story opens with Rose, a young girl with visible bruises and scars, looking shocked and withdrawn, as if she's recently gone through a traumatic incident. From here, we flash back to the beginning. Rose's mom, Alma, comes home from work, and Rose greets her, wishing her an early happy birthday, which is the next day. Alma tells Rose to finish packing because they're going on a trip with Alma's boyfriend. Rose isn't thrilled about the idea, but reluctantly agrees to go. The next morning, she returns home just as Alma leaves with her luggage. Rose isn't excited about the trip, but like any dutiful daughter, she goes along with it. On the way, Rose asks her mom about her boyfriend, and Alma casually says she doesn't know him that well, but believes he's a good person. Rose is stunned. How can her mom trust someone she barely knows? Soon, they arrive at their destination and meet Alma's boyfriend, Derek. He shows them the map, explaining their route, which passes close to the infamous Bermuda Triangle. Derek assures them they'll reach their destination by Tuesday and have a great time. While Alma unloads luggage from the car, Rose steps away under a tree for a smoke and notices a man approaching her mom. Curious, she asks later what the man wanted, and Alma casually says he just asked where she was going. This is the first real meeting between Rose and Derek. He tells them he bought a second-hand boat named Annalisa just for this trip. The three of them set off on their journey. A little later, they celebrate Alma's birthday on board, exchanging gifts. Derek gives Alma a t-shirt and Rose a knife. Rose starts to get curious and asks Derek about his work. He casually mentions he used to be a police officer, but now works as a private security consultant. He even shows Rose some knot-tying techniques and teaches her to handle the boat. After the birthday celebration, they step outside. Derek begins teaching Rose how to steer, while Alma takes photos and videos. But things quickly turn tense when the mainsail hits the water and Alma almost falls in. Derek throws her a life jacket and sends Rose to get first aid supplies. Inside the cabin, Rose notices something alarming, evidence that makes her uneasy, but she grabs the blanket and first aid kit anyway. Meanwhile, Derek helps Alma back onto the boat. Luckily, Alma isn't hurt and apologizes to Rose for accidentally dropping her phone in the water. As the weather starts to worsen, they move down to the cabin. Alma suggests they consider heading back, admitting they've never traveled this far before. Derek brushes off her concerns, saying the weather will clear by the next day. The following morning, Rose wakes to a clear sky and finds her mom relaxing with a drink. She tells Alma she's not happy being there and wants to go home, but Alma insists she should enjoy the beauty of the moment. Soon, Derek joins them. Rose notices a rifle on board and asks about it. Derek explains it's for safety and also a hobby of his. Rose, curious, asks to try it. Derek teaches her, and she shoots very well, impressing him. Later, Rose spots another boat a distance away and tries to observe it with binoculars, while Derek and Alma enjoy drinks. She starts feeling dizzy, goes back to her room, and falls asleep. When she wakes up a little later, she hears strange noises outside. Looking out, she sees another boat heading straight toward them. Suddenly, two men board, guns drawn, demanding that Derek return something. Derek, caught off guard, insists he has no idea what they're talking about. Alma screams, pleading for them to let her go, but one of the men strikes her, injuring her. Shockingly, Rose realizes that this is the same man she had seen talking to her mother earlier. His partner refers to him as Captain. Rose freezes in terror, and Alma quickly tells her to hide. Derek continues to claim ignorance, but the captain shoots both Alma and Derek. Derek is hit in the shoulder and falls into the water, while the attackers leave after taking what they came for. Rose emerges from hiding to see the boat on fire. She rushes to extinguish the flames, but then she discovers her mother's lifeless body. Devastated, Rose breaks down in shock and grief. The next morning, she is completely alone. The boat is badly damaged, the engine destroyed, and she attempts repairs, but nothing works. She wraps her mother's body carefully, determined to give her a proper burial once she gets home. Crying, she also tries to call for help, but everything on board is ruined. Then, a glimmer of hope. She hears noises outside and discovers Derek in the water, tied up, but still alive. Rose pulls him aboard, gives him water, and starts tending to his wounds. She notices a device and asks what it is. Derek lies, claiming it's just a broken extra jib sail. In truth, it can send an emergency satellite signal, but Derek insists she ignore it and attach a sail to get the boat moving. Rose struggles, but eventually manages to set up the sail. The next day, Derek calls her over so she can tend to his injuries. He tells her she must do everything to get the boat running, then collapses unconscious. Rose tries to start the engine, but it's useless. Exhausted, she sits down, then notices photos in the cabin showing Derek with the men who attacked them. Realization hits. Derek has been lying all along. She ties him up with his own hands and takes his safety knife, but later, Derek disappears. Panicked, Rose searches and finally finds him. Confronting him with a knife, she asks why he lied about the men. Derek's chilling response: "He's a monster. The less you know, the better." His expression is cold, showing no fear or remorse for Alma's death. Manipulating her fear, he convinces Rose to help fix the boat. They attempt to repair the engine together, but it's completely ruined. With no other option, they rely on the wind, drifting with a single sail for 2 days. On the third morning, Rose spots an island nearby. Derek is still asleep in a corner, so she takes control of the boat toward the shore. The sail alone isn't enough, so they use a raft for support. Derek agrees, but can't handle the boat alone. Rose steers as they approach the island, but a mishap sends part of the steering mechanism into the water, and she falls in. She doesn't know how to swim and begins to sink, but Derek dives in, rescuing her and performing CPR to bring her back. Once conscious, Rose explores a nearby cave and finds a fresh water source. Derek explains the island is deserted, and Rose insists they must find a way back. Derek promises they will, but darkness is falling, so they decide to stay the night. Together, they drag the raft ashore. Rose sleeps in it while Derek tends a fire outside, but she can't rest. Sitting by the fire, they start talking. Rose shares that her father was a soldier who died in Iraq. Derek opens up, revealing his dark past. He was once an honest police officer, but after being betrayed and abandoned, he turned to crime, working with dangerous men, including the captain, the very person responsible for smuggling girls like Rose. He admits he stole something valuable from them, which is why Alma was killed. Derek even explains that the knot-tying lessons were a setup to bind her hands later. When Rose spots the satellite device, Derek initially lies again, but she quickly realizes the truth. Acting fast, she hits him, grabs a gun, and demands he activate the device. The gun is empty. Derek kept the magazine, but Rose narrowly escapes his attack, fights back, and hides. The next morning, Derek is still tracking her, but Rose has a plan. She heads toward the raft, intending to use it to escape. Derek sees her and opens fire from above, yet Rose, summoning all her courage, keeps moving. During the chaos, Derek falls from above. Rose freezes for a moment, then approaches to check if he's dead. He's injured, but alive. Derek, barely conscious, suddenly attacks Rose with a knife, demanding she take him to the boat, claiming he has the device necessary to activate an emergency signal. He slashes her, but Rose fights back, smashing a rock over his head and seizing the device from his bag. Despite her effort, she can't activate it. Derek tries to coerce her again, but Rose refuses and heads back to the boat via the raft. Once on board, she tends to her wounds and rests. That night, she wakes to find the boat beginning to sink. She quickly gathers essential supplies and tries to move her mother's body to the raft, but it slips into the water. Heartbroken, she's forced to leave her mother behind. Realizing the boat is doomed, she cuts the rope tying the raft to it. For 2 days, Rose drifts alone at sea, unsure what to do. On the 3rd day, she spots a distant ship and fires a flare gun. Initially, she thinks the sunlight might have blinded the crew, but that night, the ship returns to rescue her. She boards a larger vessel, noticing that everyone is armed. Listening closely, she realizes they're all associated with Captain, the same man behind the smuggling. She quietly follows their routine, observing that many girls are held captive on the ship. She requests a room to bathe, fully realizing that if this ship is used for trafficking, Captain himself must be on board. Clean and prepared, she sneaks into another room and sees a man surrounded by others. She asks if he's Captain, and he confirms he is. Using her wits, Rose distracts him and, at the first opportunity, strikes him down, killing him. She then finds a room full of very young girls held captive. Just as one remaining henchman aims a gun at her, Tabitha, the girl she saw earlier, hits him from behind, giving Rose the chance to shoot him. Rose secures the girls and heads to the radio room to send a distress signal. Along the way, she encounters Derek, alive and shocking her. She asks, "Weren't you dead on that island?" Derek smirks, revealing he'd struck a deal with Captain and escaped using the device. He attacks her, boasting that with his plan alongside Captain, no one can save her. Rose laughs, confident. She reminds him that she already killed Captain. Furious, Derek slashes at her and pushes her down the stairs, but she escapes. Following his blood trail, he tracks her, only for Rose to release a chemical trap that knocks him down. Finally, Rose draws the knife Derek had once given her and strikes him straight in the chest. Derek collapses, defeated at last. Exhausted, Rose surveys the aftermath. Captain's henchmen are all defeated. Just then, Tabitha approaches her, saying, "Come with me, I want to show you something." Rose follows her and finds all the captive girls gathered on the ship's deck, watching as the vessel heads toward a safe harbor. The girls cheer, knowing they're finally returning home. Once the ship reaches the port, the authorities take over, ensuring everyone is safe. We then return to the beginning of the story, where Rose recounts the entire ordeal to a police officer. Impressed, the officer praises her bravery, confirming that all the rescued girls have been safely returned to their families. He tells Rose that she too will be sent home. Inspired by his words, Rose finds the determination to start anew, embracing the possibility of a fresh beginning. And with that, her harrowing journey comes to a close, a story of survival, courage, and triumph.
If you enjoyed this review, be sure to subscribe to Movies You Missed and share in the comments which film you'd like us to cover next.